There are plenty of favorites from the 1990s making a return. Just look at what's on TV at the moment: Blind Date, The Crystal Maze, Street Mate and The League of Gentlemen. But that's not the case for once popular cars. In fact, many of the mainstream models from the .com decade are now on the verge of disappearing for good, new research has found. That's despite some of these vehicles recently becoming collectible, demanding increasing sums on the classic car market. Here are the examples you, or your parents, might have owned in the 90s that could follow Max Power, Oasis, and smash hits into oblivion in the next 5 years. Asked by Honest John Classics identified which 90s favorites are now on the brink of disappearing for good. The government-launched scrap page scheme in 2009 stripped the market of 392,227 future classics, according to the website, and another rapid demise is predicted for some of the best-selling cars of the 1990s. For instance, 2613 Rover 400s were scrapped in 2016, which represents 21% of the cars that were left on UK roads. At that rate they'll all be gone in 5 years. Take a trip down memory lane and you'll remember the likes of the Vauxhall Cavalier family car and the Citroën Saxo Super Mini, popular models during the 1990s. Even latecomers to the 90s era aren't safe, it appears. The first-generation Ford Focus, a car launched in 1998, is disappearing at a rate of 25% a year. Keith Moody, editor of Honest John Classics, said that many people don't consider vehicles from that era as classic cars, but a recent boom has seen models from the 1990s soar in value. For instance, a 1996 Ford Escort Cosworth RS sold for an astronomical £91,125 at auction in November. And modest examples are starting to become more and more collectible too. Many people think of a classic car as an MGB or an E-Type Jaguar, but the reality is that there's a huge amount of interest in cars from the 1990s, Mr. Moody said. A review of the best-selling models from 1993 show that very few of the most popular cars bought 25 years ago are still being used by drivers today. Mr. Moody added, the startling survival rates of the cars that you used to see on every street and at every service station means that demand for them is starting to outstrip supply. Is a car from the 90s really a classic? Many would snigger at the thought of a 1990s Ford Mondeo or Vauxhall Cavalier being referred to as classic cars, but research from Honest John Classics showed that some are being cherished by those that own them. In fact, cars from 1993 have a better pass rate than cars from 2005, with 57% of the 90s cars passing the annual test compared to 55% of those registered just 12 years ago.